Hi, everybody. We're starting a new section, and you might have guessed from my friend back there that we're doing the BB section. This is going to be the first one. I haven't previewed it, so characteristics of quadratic graphs. So let's take a look and see what they look like. I suspect that they're going to be parabolas. What are the coordinates of the vertex? Well, actually, they want to know where is the vertex of this parabola, and it's at 1, -1. The vertex is the minimum point, sometimes it's called. It's the point at which I like to think it's the point at which the graph zeroes out, and you'll see how I talk about that later. Anyway, it's at 1, -1. That's it. Okay, what is the y-intercept? Hopefully, they're only asking for a number. Now, this is kind of a bad question because the y-intercept is literally a point where the graph crosses the y-axis. It just happens to be the vertex of this parabola as well. It's at 0, -6, but they just want the -6 part. The y-intercept at this point is at 0, -9, but again, they only want the -9 part. What are the coordinates of the vertex? The vertex zero out at -6, 0. Easy to make an error there. That point is -6 on the x-axis. X-intercepts always have an x value, and they're always on the x-axis, x, x, x. Just remember, -6, 0. Notice that the equation of the x-axis is where y is equal to 0. That's why our y has to be 0 on the x-axis. What is the equation of the axis of symmetry? Well, the axis of symmetry is the y-axis because it cuts this parabola exactly in half, and the two halves match up, if you want to think of it that way. The reason that this happens is because the positive x's behave exactly like the negative x's. When you take a -2 and square it, you get the same thing when you take 2 and square it. And that's true for any number that you choose. And that's why it looks like that. The equation of the axis of symmetry is the equation of the y-axis. And a lot of people are going to mess this up. Notice that this point is 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3. Notice that x is always equal to 0 on the y-axis. And that is that equation, x equals 0. What is the minimum value? Well, it's the vertex at 0, 0. It's right there, the minimum value. Oh, this time they're talking about a function value. So what they want to know is what's the minimum y. Now, if this had happened to be, here, then the minimum value would be the y value, not the x value. So it's 0. The equation, the axis of symmetry, again, we're on the y-axis. Remember that the y-axis is x equals 0. It's where x is always 0. What is the minimum value? Now, this time they don't want the x value, they want the y value, which is right there at -6. This time they want the y-intercept, and that is not the vertex, that is the point 0, -5, but they only want the -5 part. axis of symmetry, here it is, the y-axis, x equals 0. By the way, this is where y equals 0 for the x-axis. Obviously, this is the axis of symmetry because it cuts your parabola into two exactly equal parts that can be reflected onto each other. What are the coordinates of the vertex? The vertex is at 1, 1, isn't it? It's right there. That also happens to be the maximum. What is the minimum value? Well, this time the minimum is at -4. It's right there. The y is -4, which is the functional value. What is the y-intercept? That's at the vertex at 0. Looks like -3. Yeah, they just want the -3 part. And what are the coordinates of the vertex? We're at 0, 1 this time, aren't we? 0, 1. That also happens to be the y-intercept, but they call y-intercept 1, which is weird. The maximum value is 0. It's right there. That's where it maxes out. Remember, we're looking at the y value, not the x value. And we got here, the minimum value is the y value right here, which is 0. The equation of the axis of symmetry, this is going through this. This is the line that cuts this exactly in half. Notice that when you're talking about this kind of parabola, it's going to be x is equal to the value that it is at the vertex, which happens to be at this point, it happens to be at 1, -9. So x equals, darn it, 1. That is the line of symmetry, or the axis of symmetry. What are the coordinates of the vertex? Looks like it's 0, 8, maybe. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 0, 8. A couple more. What is the y-intercept? 0, 0. The y-intercept is at 0, 0. They just want the 0. Oh, one more. What is the y-intercept? 0 again. And looks like we're done. Just looking at some features of parabolas. So hope you guys will do it. And nice, easy one. Have a good one. I'll see you back again.